Aloha and mahalo for joining me. I'm Janet and welcome to the Called to Create podcast. So I wanted to ask you, have you ever considered meeting with me for a coaching session? I want to just let you know that I do have business creativity coaching available to help you get your creative business started. We'll work together to align all the steps to get your business up and running quickly. Or if you already have a business but you're not sure what to do next or how to grow your business, I can help you with that too. I'm definitely here to serve you and to help you with if you feel like you're standing in your own way and you feel like you're just not sure what to do, then email me at aloha@janenjohnston.com so that I can send you my coaching menu and then we can book a coaching session together. So let's do this. And today, I wanted to talk a little bit more about scheduling your success in a way where you think, yeah, I want that. And why not schedule in my own success? I talked about that in episode 114, but I wanted to talk about it some more because I realized that in that episode, I really didn't cover everything that I wanted to. And then after I published that episode, I thought, oh, maybe I should add this to it and add that to it. So there's a few more things I wanted to talk about, but it's interesting because if you want to start your own business or if you already have one, you're going to have to do many, many things and you're going to have put things in order, and there's things that you have to do in order to start your business and especially to run it and grow it. And having a schedule is very crucial to the success of your business. And trust me, I know because I've learned the hard way. When I didn't have a schedule for myself with my business, things were really just terrible. I didn't get the important things done when they needed to be done. And I would stay up till like 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning and rushing to finish things, whether I had to sew something for someone or whatever it was. There was always something to do, and it was really painful because when you're stressed and you're rushing, you get tired quicker. And then I felt like I was getting grouchy and I was thinking to myself, why do I do this to myself? And it's interesting how some people really just have their schedule down so that they're very successful. But in the early days, I didn't have a schedule. Nobody taught me how to do time blocking and to schedule and to, like I said before in other podcast episodes, way back when I started my business, up until maybe just several years ago, there wasn't any business coaches and there wasn't this whole online thing, and there weren't online programs you could take to teach you how to run a business. And we didn't have anything like that. You just had to learn the hard way, or you would just ask other people questions who had a business. And, sometimes people don't want to share, especially back then. Sometimes they just don't want to share the things that they've done to make them successful because, some people are fearful that they're going to give away all their secrets, and then, people are going to be more successful than they are. So I really had to learn how to schedule, all the things I needed to do and how to have a business and how to run it. And it got easier, I would say, probably like 10 years ago when I really started going online and doing all these things and learning how to have an online business. But that's why I'm talking so much about scheduling your success, because like I said in episode 114, somebody's going to schedule you if you don't schedule your own business and your own life. So let me do a quick recap of episode 114. I talked about scheduling your success in a way where you say, yeah, I want that. I talked about how you can have success in your daily life, your daily job, if you have one, and how, the job will schedule you. I also talked about writing what success means to you, That could be in the area of emotional, mental, physical, spiritual wellness, family. If you want a certain amount of money, does success mean having a certain job? You decide what it means for you. And I also talked about how God wants you to have success too. And you have to schedule it in. And also, I wanted you to learn or to do time blocking in a better way if you already do it. And I've done time blocking a little bit for many years, but I've never really been good at it. I would schedule it in, and then sometimes I wouldn't even look at my schedule or the calendar. And, I mean, hey, I'm not perfect. I'm still trying to pick myself up and try again. But I also talked about if you can just take 15 minutes for yourself every day and schedule in your success, schedule in what you want your day to look like. And it has to be sometimes around your job, and it has to be around your family and things like that. But the great thing about life is that you get to decide, and that's the beauty of life. So, with this being a new year, we don't have any time to waste, ladies. That's all I have to say. And that's what I've been feeling too, because time goes by so fast. I feel like with the start of a new year, we just don't have any time to waste. And for myself, I do have times in my day where I do waste it, just like other people. I know other people too that waste their day, and I'm not here to judge, but because we're not perfect. But for example, when I waste time, there's a couple of things that I do consistently. Is that I go to the kitchen and I find something to munch on, even if I'm not hungry. Or I'll look through, I don't know why I do that. I'll open the refrigerator, look through it. I don't know why. And sometimes just close the door and not even get anything out of it. But I notice I do that when like I'm frustrated or I don't feel like doing the hard things. But another thing that I do sometimes is I'll look through like my craft or my sewing things, and I'll look through it because it's like it just makes me come alive when I'm looking through all of these creative things. But I'm looking through it knowing that I'm not going to create anything at that moment. But it's still something that I do because sometimes, have a hard time getting focused, and I have some things that I do to distract myself. So I don't know if you've done that, like if you're really creative and you have your creative items that you go through it just because you like to look at it. But there's so many other ways of wasting time that are pretty common too for other people that I've heard, like on social media or shopping online. I don't do too many of those things. I waste time in other areas, but it's so easy to waste time. And I think that it's not a conscious thing when we do waste our time, because sometimes we just need to zone out. Like I mentioned, like if you have stress, like when I had stress, like I just want to distract myself for just a little bit, because I noticed that if I don't figure out how to deal with the stress or whatever's going on, that I get really tired. And it's very frustrating for me when I'm tired because I'm stressed. And, we just got to pick ourselves up if that ever happens. I just pick myself up and just start again and just keep trying to get back on track. And so that's why I wanted to talk about time blocking, because I realized how important time blocking is. And different people teach different ways of time blocking. And you can actually find people online, because you actually have to figure out which time blocking method works best for you. But basically, it's just breaking your day up into blocks and deciding what you're going to do within that specific amount of time. Now, I used to really strongly dislike the word schedule. Even though all the jobs that I've ever had, I've always had to be on a schedule. I've always been on one. And I had, like I had to be there at a certain time, like I mentioned in episode 114 and all of that. And I really didn't like that. And when I was 19, I worked at a bank in the checking account department. And there were certain things we had to do within the first 2 hours. And, there's things that you have to do in a bank because everything's time and money. But I knew that I was on a schedule and I really didn't like it because I was really young at that time too. And at that moment, or those years that I was there, I really didn't know the value of what I went through at that time up until maybe several years ago, when I was really starting to learn how to run a business more efficiently. And well, actually probably more than several years ago, but I realized it helps get more done when you schedule what you're going to do during the day. And I don't know how come I didn't realize that from before. I don't know, maybe I was just too young. And I was pregnant. I had 2 kids at the time when I worked at the bank in my 20s. So that made it even harder. But I've been learning to like a schedule for a really long time. Hopefully, I'll get to that place where I really, really like it. But I find that when I do plug things into my calendar, it does make a big difference. And I used to always use a physical paper calendar where it just had the 12 months. Way back when I was in my 20s and 30s, we really didn't have a lot of the type of planners they have now. So a lot of people just used 12 months and they would just plug things in that day on the whole month calendar. But I forgot what year it was, but I discovered the Franklin Quest planner. It was probably like the early 90s. And Franklin Quest was started by a man named Hiram Smith. And then in 1997, he partnered with Stephen Covey. And then they changed the business name to Franklin Covey Company. And then that's when I discovered them, was in the early 90s. And I tried using their planners and all of that, and I still really wasn't good at it. But I kept trying, even though a lot of the weeks the planner pages were blank. I would still go back to it and keep trying. And then, not too long ago, I started using the calendar app in my phone because a lot of people were talking about how you always have your phone with you, so you might as well just put your schedule in your calendar and in any of the apps, because you can download like hundreds of different apps to schedule your day. But I find that it really wasn't working for me because I was using a paper planner for so long. So I was struggling with just doing a digital calendar and not using a paper planner. But I was still doing both, and I was going back and forth. And then it wasn't consistent. So now I'm committed to just sticking with my paper planner. And the only thing that I'm going to put in my digital calendar on my phone is if I have an appointment to go somewhere, where I have to physically get in the car or whatever and go, that way it can remind me just in case. Because if I have to drive somewhere, I want to make sure that I leave on time. But I find that the more I stick with a paper planner, it helps me more. And for me, that works. So I'm talking about it a lot right now because I've had a creative business for 30 years now. I've always done things with my hands, the sewing and the cutting and the crafting and the glue gun and just everything with my hands. And it wasn't anything that had to do digitally before. So because I'm so used to using color and colored paper and colored pens and all of that, it was almost like the schedule would come alive because I still do use colored pens and colored pens for specific things, that I find that it's more appealing to me when I can use the colored pens or the colored paper versus doing digitally. Everything's just black and white. So I talk about it like that because you have to find what method works best for you. And there's a lot of people who have switched over to digital, but this is your life. So choose which one works best for you. And whatever you choose, make sure you use it consistently. That means every day. Schedule yourself every day. Then that way you're not wondering, okay, what was I supposed to do? Or was I supposed to do that today? Or, things that have to get done, just put it on your paper. But if you can schedule in that 15 minutes, take 15 minutes every day and schedule it in what your day is going to look like. Of course, it's flexible. It's, whatever you put on paper is not written in stone. So you can always change it or move it over to the next day and so forth. But make sure you put something in your schedule that would lead you to be successful or to have success or to feel success. Like I said, success means something different to everyone. So try it out because you want to be able to come to the end of your life and feel like you've had success and not have regrets. Especially when you have your own business, you really have to make sure that you do what is necessary, especially if you're like selling a product. If you're creating something and you sell it, you have to have it done by a certain time, especially if you're going to put it online and somebody's going to order it. Or if you have to make more of that thing and somebody's already ordered it, you have to make sure that those things are done. So if you can make sure to do all the things that need to get done for your business, then, it's less stressful because you don't want to have a business of any kind where you're stressed out every day. You want to be able to have a business where it's exciting and you wake up and you look forward to working on it and working in it and being creative. Especially if you're creative and doing these things is so exciting. It just fills your spirit and it just makes you come alive. And that's what I'm hoping for you, is that you can schedule in your day to get all these important things done where you come alive. And it's just really fulfilling when someone buys your product or they pay for your service and you can teach them something. I can't even begin to explain how that feels if you've never sold anything or taught anything. It's so amazing. Like, you feel like everything's just worth all the effort and the time. You just feel like everything has a purpose and a meaning, and you have purpose and meaning. Think about that today and do this. And I really encourage you to start a business if you haven't, and make sure you send me an email if you're thinking about starting one and maybe you're not sure and you want to talk to me about it. I would love for you to do that. You can, remember, send me an email at aloha@janetjohnson.com. Thank you for being here, because I know with all the things you have going on in your life that you chose this time to listen to me talk about scheduling and business. So I really appreciate it. And I do want to ask you a favor. If you can please take a minute to rate and review this podcast, and you can do it right there in the app. And thank you so much. I think you are amazing. And I hope you have a great day. Aloha.